Welcome back to MMA Al Dente. I am the guy who picked Alan Goes to defeat Alex Stiebling. And I'm here to talk about Eduarda Moura, or Maura, taking on Denise Gomes. Denise Gomes versus Eduarda Moura. Her name is Maura as of now, but once John Anik commentates one of her fights, it's going to be Moura. And Moura is my prediction to win this fight. I think she's going to win with her grappling in one way or another. My official prediction is she gets a finish. I think she's just so dominant on top where if she's having her way, chances are she gets a finish. Of course, I wouldn't be that surprised if she won a decision because I think Denise Gomes is the most dangerous fighter she's ever fought. And she might feel that in the fight and just be trying to slow the fight down rather than speed it up and risk losing position. But I got her winning by finish. That is my pick. And I bet on her money line at minus 166 or whatever it's at right now. But I also bet on the under 2.5 rounds. Nothing heavy, just because it's the only bets that are available right now. But I think there's a little bit of value on the under because it's under 2.5 rounds. I think Maura, if she does win, it's probably by finish. And I also think if Denise Gomes should win, chances are it's by finish. Even though Maura's never been finished, let alone beaten, or I should say beaten, let alone finished. But if she was to suffer her first professional defeat, and it's at the hands of Denise Gomes, Gomes is exceptionally dangerous. I think it would probably be a TKO. Still, though, the pick is Maura. I think Maura does win with her grappling. It hasn't failed her yet. She's 10-0 as a pro, 9 victories via finish, 5 submissions, I believe all rear naked chokes, and 4 TKOs. And the one decision, which is the fight I really wanted to see, was against Eileen Sotomayor, a solid journeywoman, so to speak, a veteran. And she won by split decision in her fourth fight against Sotomayor. I did see her win a split decision as an amateur. And that was a fight where she was largely dominant, but she got swept a few times and whatever. It's fucking 3-minute rounds in amateur fights. So one little momentum swing could win you the whole round and the whole fight. And it is what it is. But even though it was a split, I thought she got the better of the girl. And I should mention she's got one loss as an amateur in her first fight ever. And it's a round 3 guillotine choke to this girl, Beatriz. I tried to find that one as well, but I wasn't able to find it. Having said that, it's her first fight ever, and she was fighting a girl who had a 5-1 amateur record. So on that front alone, it's forgivable. But as a pro, yeah, she's looked dominant every step of the way. A lot of first round finishes, and her last few wins are against a few girls that have something to offer. To be honest, she hasn't beaten anybody too great. But she got a big win in her UFC debut against Montserrat Ruiz, Canejo, whatever. And she was dominant in that fight. Ripped her to the mat, mounted her eventually, and pounded her out. And against Janina Silva on the Contender Series, it was the same thing. She got a submission in that one, a rear naked choke, but she was dominant in that fight. And that's really it. She hasn't fought too many great fighters out there, but anytime she has fought anybody who's even halfway decent, she looks levels above halfway decent. So there's a lot of upside with Eduarda Moura, and I'm just picking and betting on the upside here. I think she's going to be too much for Denise Gomes. Denise Gomes has a record of 8-3. She's got one loss via TKO and 2 via decision. The one loss comes in her professional debut, so it's forgivable on that front. But it's to Giselle Moreira in round 2. Wasn't able to see the fight, although I've seen a still image of the fight, and I'm just assuming it happened on the ground. But that's the only time she was ever finished. Her other 2 losses are by decision. She lost in the UFC to Angela Hill in her last fight and Loma Lukbume in her UFC debut. Those are 2 striking-based fighters, although as we've seen recently, they're not pure strikers. And even Loma got a submission a year or two ago. But she was still out grappled by the strikers there, which wasn't a great look. And especially with Loma Lukbume, she was trying to bully Loma in the clinch. And at one point, she picked her up and put her in the full mount on top of her, which she actually did that in one of her regional fights or whatever, not in the full mount, but put the girl on top of her. She can't be making that mistake with Eduarda Moura. She's got to really mind her P's and Q's because this girl brings a danger that Loma Lukbume does not on the ground. She does have one great victory. Well, she's got a few great victories, but one great victory where she was hurt badly against Milana Dudieva, former UFC fighter. That was her win before coming to the Contender Series. It was in Invicta, and Milana had her dominated early, almost finished her on the ground in round one, pounding her from the back mount, which could be showing itself here in this fight. And she was also knocked down badly in round two by Milana, really hurt. And Milana Dudieva was dominating and full control of the fight, but Denise Gomes took her ass kicking, kept in there, and in round three, she outlasted Dudieva and beat her up and got her out of there with knees and punches. It was an excellent fight, showed a lot of great traits, but also a lot of weaknesses. You know, sometimes you have to show the weaknesses to show the traits, and that's what happened there. But she's above average with her danger. 6 knockouts in her 8 wins, which for a female of any size is exceptional. She does have that one round three TKO over Milana Dudieva, and she's got another one in there as well. But we've seen it in round one in about 20 seconds against Yasmin Haragui last year, just steamrolled her, and against Bruna Brazil, where she went through her pretty easily, even though it was a second round finish. Yeah, she's definitely got danger on her side, but I just have too much doubt in her grappling, uh, Denise Gomes, in this fight. I think she's a girl that can be taken down and that can cost her a decision or whatever, some valuable points in a lot of other matchups, like with Angela Hill and Loma Lupume. But here, I think Eduarda Moura on top is going to be a whole different threat, where she'll be advancing on Denise Gomes and she'll be controlling her at the very least, if not dominating and finishing her. So Eduarda Moura is the pick. I've got her winning from the full mount to the back mount in one way or another, and let's call it in round two. But I'll wait to see all the props. As of now, I played Moura and the under because, again, like I said, I consider that a bit of a hedge bet, and it's at plus money. I think Moura should win by finish in one way or another. A little bit of doubt there, but I think if she does lose, probably still by finish for Denise Gomes. So we'll see what happens. But this Moda chick, if she fucking makes weight, which she didn't make weight for her last fight, I should have mentioned that when she beat Montserrat Ruiz, who should be fighting at atom weight anyway. She missed weight and wasn't a great look. Much bigger, stronger girl. So we'll see what happens, but I'm going with Eduardo Moura. Like, share, subscribe, all that horse shit, and check out my other videos.